Okay, call this Village of Greenhills, I've lost my agenda, council meeting to order for December 14th, 2021. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Halter is not here. Ms. Hermes?
Here.
Mr. Lee?
Here.
Ms. Metz?
Here.
Ms. Osmanoglu?
Here.
Ms. Walker?
Here.
And Mayor Moore.
Here. Okay, we have a prayer by Maria Walter.
Bless us all, we earnestly pray, gladden our hearts in you with the joyful tidings of this holy day, that the day soon drawn, when men shall permit thy love to right every wrong, and when truth and justice and love shall overrule all the affairs of men, that here and everywhere there shall prevail the glorious message of the first Christmas morning, peace be on earth to men of good will. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we have a previous council meeting of November the 9th minutes. Do we have any comments or questions, corrections? Hearing none, minutes stand approved. Okay. And at this time, we have Winton Woods Warriors here with us. Quite an honor and quite an accomplishment for the team. We've got some of the team here. We're not big enough to probably get the whole team in here like they did at the State House. Actually, if you guys could maneuver through this slight opening over here and look at the camera.
Throw the ball. Catch it.
Camera's back there in the corner.
So look up there at the cameras and yeah.
It's back where the light is in the corner.
And I don't know, Coach, you want to introduce them or have them just introduce themselves?
Yeah, Chad Murphy, blessed to be here. We really appreciate it. These are our captains, senior captains, J. Ron Gibson, and J. Ron was also recognized as Defensive Player of the Year in the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
Another senior captain, Will Edwards, great kid, great young man, 3-year star, just phenomenal kid. 7 blue, linebacker, phenomenal human. Tyrese Spikes, pound for pound, toughest kid. I don't even like saying pound for pound, one of the toughest kids I've ever coached. Had 1,100 yards in our 6 playoff games. Just a phenomenal. Drew Thompson, offensive lineman, great kid, great young man, great leader, great teammate, really responsible for a lot of our running the football this year. And Caden Sanders, wide receiver, another just great kid. Yep. I'm blessed to have this job. I came to Winton Woods last year as an assistant, got the head coaching job this year, obviously, and it's been a blessing because of young men like this right here. So truly blessed. It's been a great ride. So we appreciate you guys for all you've done.
I'll give you a proclamation that I've made up here. I'll read that to you all. Whereas the Winton Woods High School football team beat Archbishop Hoban High School 21-11 on December the 2nd, hereby winning the State of Ohio Division II state championship. Whereas the Winton Woods High School football team finished the 2021 season with a 13 wins and 3 losses record for the year. Whereas the Winton Woods High School football team has now secured a second state title, having previously won the Division II title in 2009. Whereas the players did demonstrate dedication, commitment, enthusiasm, zeal, and persistence to become the OHSAA Division II state champion. And whereas the selfless work and dedication of many adult mentors and delivered these benefits to our players. And whereas the village and its citizens have spent many hours of entertainment watching young men learn the eternal lessons of sport, discipline, fitness, teamwork, learning, and dedication to task. I, David Moore, Mayor of the Village of Greenhills, do hereby declare today, December 15th of 2021, as Winton Woods Warriors Day. In the Village of Greenhills, I ask all residents to congratulate all players, coaches, parents, staff, students, and community members that assisted the team on their victory. So congratulations, guys.
Way to go, man.
Congratulations.
Way to go.
Congratulations.
Way to go. Way to go.
Congratulations. I listened to it on the radio. It was wonderful.
Way to go.
Sure. Anybody live in Greenhills? Anybody?
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Great job.
Congratulations. Good job, sir.
Great
You
job.
men got agents yet?
Great job.
You got agents yet?
I listened to it on the radio. It was awesome. The commentators were great.
Great job. Care if I go on there real quick? Can I have a picture?
Yeah.
You in there? Get in there.
Here, you want to get it, Coach?
We gotta get the mayor. He goes back up.
Listen, go right on up to it.
Yeah, put one of the short guys in front of you.
Yeah, let me get one with mine. There we go.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you guys.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach,
Great night.
Coach, before you go,
Yes, sir.
I was at the 2009 championship up at Massillon, and that was a great win for the team and for the community at the time. But I have to say that I have never seen a Winton Woods football team play like your team played that night. It was outstanding. You played disciplined, you executed, and I just can't say enough good things about you.
Means a lot. Blessed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again. All right.
We gotta do it again.
Yes,
Okay, reports, municipal officials, Municipal Manager Yvonne Kovac.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have something new in the packet this time around. I'm calling it a legislative report. It's intended to be helpful for council, but also for the citizens as you're getting information since we now allot time. Council has allowed time to talk before legislation's reviewed. So I'm hoping to kind of break it down as to what is that legislation, why do we do it, that kind of thing. So I will review these at each meeting, just in the order that they're in our packet. Our first item being the supplemental appropriation. And again, this is something that we might even have monthly on our agenda for review. And it's passed anytime there is a change in the annual appropriation. So in this particular case, the supplemental is going to appropriate more money into the police donation fund. The money is already in what's called the fund balance for that fund, but has to be appropriated so it can actually be spent. So that's what's going on with this one. Next item is the annual permanent appropriation for 2022, also passed annually by the village, usually in December, and it outlines the areas and the amounts of expenditure that we'll make in any given area. And again, just from the supplemental description I just gave you, it can change during the year based on the changes of any of the village's needs, or if there's a change in resources, that would have to be reflected in the appropriations. So, next item, tax advances. Another item that's passed annually. Our December agenda is pretty routine. The village does this because to get our tax revenues from Hamilton County on a little bit more regular basis. Otherwise, I think they can pretty well send tax dollars like whenever they want, maybe twice a year or something, and we kind of count on it to get here ideally like monthly. So if you pass this ahead of time, they will do that for your community. So any community, once it needs to pass this same legislation. Next resolution is our healthcare plan with Anthem. Again, we've had Anthem for a number of years, so we will be continuing with Anthem. We were originally at 20%, that is now down to a 15%, so we're glad to report that, but that is on your agenda for approval tonight. Next item is the wood lamping agreement for services. I think that was a 3-year contract we had previously, and this is another 3-year contract. The increases are not substantial, thank you very much. The retainer is increasing only $500 a year, and the hourly rate only $5 per hour for each year. Also a 3-year contract, I think I said that. The next item is the resolution establishing new salaries. And we've been working on salary increases for the police officers and for management personnel. You know, I kind of want to set the overall picture for this because nationwide there has been a mass exodus of police from many jurisdictions as a result of the trend in defunding police departments across the nation. There have been a lot of attacks on police officers, attempts to take away their immunity, basically just stripping them of their power to protect innocent people. And it's having a really negative impact on every police department. I'm sure the chief will touch on that in just a little bit. We're lucky to have a community that really supports and demonstrates its support for our police department. But we're caught up in the same difficulty of recruiting and keeping officers. And that's the reason for the salary increases, that yes, they are large increases, but we need to be competitive, try to keep our good officers. So these put us, when you look at Hamilton County, like about right in the middle, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. And we're using the American Rescue Act money for the first 3 years of funding. Actually, these are 2-year increases, so they would receive in 1 year, would not get another increase for 2 years. Yeah, the second year, so that's an overall 3-year span there for that. Did I say that right?
Every other year.
Okay. That's an easier way to say it, thank you. Increases on the management personnel is really a recognition of the work that each accomplish all the time, and also balancing salaries within the organization and competitiveness within the general area. I can tell you that one of the things that council looked at is the fact that if any of our positions had to be replaced, what would we have to be paying? And I can tell you, yeah, right. I can tell you that every position would probably be making more than what we are currently making. I'll say a little bit about my salary because I know that's been a big topic on Facebook. I believe it was Mrs. Kohler that put up that my salary should be topping out at $74,000. I don't know where that information came from. Of 23 communities in Hamilton County, only 2 of them are even under $74,000 for their salaries. And when you look at the 23 communities, I'm actually 7th from the bottom. So for anybody who wonders if I'm the top paid manager, no, I'm not, darn it. Okay, there's also a question about my income tax that I've read about. And yes, Greenhills gets all of my income tax. Okay, so just to get that straight. All right. I will move on to the assessments now on code issues. We do a lot of code enforcement. We've had almost 400 cases since our new code enforcement officer, and of those, I believe only 35 are still pending. But we have code enforcement cases every day. Every day. So that's a very active program. Somebody else out there is always saying no codes, no regulations are ever enforced. I don't know where they live, but we're doing it pretty good. We're getting calls from citizens who are noticing differences, so we're pretty excited about the emphasis we've been able to do on our code enforcement. This particular piece of legislation, when the residents don't remedy their situation within a certain period of time, the village has to take on that responsibility, and then we can put that onto their property tax bill as a tax lien to collect the money. And the last piece of legislation is our property and liability insurance renewal. Another annual item, we have had the public entities pool, PEP, and been very satisfied with them. Our premium did go up just a little bit this year. They have increased the type of cyber liability insurance coverage that we have. So that probably accounts for most of the increase. Deb, overall, it was what, about a $7,000 increase, I think. It's in the legislation, but I didn't put it in the report. So right around $7,000, I think it's up from about 50 to 57. Aside from the legislation, the new light at Sharon and Junefield is in now. I hope you've noticed a difference. They also put like a plate out to help it reflect a little bit more, so hopefully that'll work.
At least 2 weeks,
Yeah,
maybe
about
3 weeks?
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
So are you talking about those little lights?
No.
Lights?
No, this is actually the big pole across from the island.
Oh, you mean on the other side?
Yeah, that's Forest Park's light, but we paid for the upgrade. And I think, check it out. I think it's working pretty good, so. You know what, and I also want to thank Tanya tonight. This is our last night that Tanya is going to be with us, and she has really had, quality work. Thank you so much. So we will miss you. That's all I have right now.
All right, anybody have any comments or questions? Manager? I will make a comment that I don't know whether Yvonne's ever calculated this, but my guess is that in the 12 years almost that she's been here, she has secured grants in excess of what we've paid her. So that's one of the pluses of having a manager. Okay, Law Director Jeff Forbes.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing to report tonight.
Clerk of Council Tanya Kohler.
Nothing to report. I'll be missing y'all.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Chief of Police Neil Fertelman.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. On December 3rd, we had a lot of fun ushering in the holidays here in Greenhills with Light Up. We had a unique position with a little booth that was set up for us, and courtesy of Councilmember Metz, we gave out, rather quickly I might add, 200 Buskin bakery cookies, holiday cookies to kids of all ages. And I think we might have to re-up that order a little bit next year, as fast as they
We've already
went.
decided that we're going to donate 500 cookies
Wow.
of sugar, so.
Well, we found that went really well with the hot cocoa across the way at the gazebo. So we had a lot of fun talking with our residents, and being right in front of Marty's waffle truck. The line never stopped the whole night. I guess our cookies were dessert. If by chance you did miss Light Up, anyone that's listening, I would encourage you to go to Waycross Community Media. They have a video that was done by one of their videographers, Dana Gagnon. She really captured the magic of the holidays here in Greenhills. And the video is on their website. It's also on our website, Greenhills Police. But it's really heartwarming to watch, and I would encourage you to take a look at that if you haven't had a chance to see it. I think the holiday decorations competition started last night, Mayor, is that right?
Yes.
And continues on, so make sure you have your lights on. We were recently in our school. We were at Winton Woods South Campus. We went for a holiday party this past Friday. We participated in a couple of games. Pin the Heart on the Grinch was my favorite, and we had a lot of fun with the second graders that were there. We join in the celebration and congratulating, speaking of our schools, of our own Winton Woods Warriors and their accomplishments. And as we head further into the holidays, we have lined up some holiday families that we're going to be helping. Within the next week, we'll be taking a group of Greenhills children to do a shop with the cop. We have some donated resources through our community fund, but also some gift cards that were donated anonymously by some of our residents. And we will be using those to make the holidays a little brighter for some of our own kids here. We started around Thanksgiving with some Thanksgiving dinners. We partnered with our friends at the Forest Park Police Department. We secured some dinners for some of our residents, and that will continue on through the Christmas holidays. A reminder that I received on the night of Light Up from our own council member, Maria Walther Willard. Remember, sometimes we take it for granted in our phones that we dial manually, but then we have these that we just have our numbers in, and if you haven't reprogrammed your phone for the 513, that can be an issue, particularly if it's an emergency and you really need to get through to whether it's a first responder or a loved one, but remember to check your programming in your phone. I mentioned Waycross Communications a little bit ago. They have a video also up on their website. It's also on ours. Talking with Greenhills, I think Councilman Montaglue and Councilmember Metz are featured in that, along with our officer Jared Francis. So I would urge you to check that out. Holidays are a happy time, but unfortunately the thieves are active. Make sure that if you have packages coming, it's a good idea to have a neighbor that you tell that to, and they can either take in the package for you or at least keep a watch on it. Make sure that you lock things up and don't leave things in plain view in your cars. That's probably the biggest crime that we have in our community. So remember, please, always to lock your cars and don't leave valuables visible in them. In terms of statistics, during the past month we made 17 criminal arrests, and those include charges for OVI, or operating a vehicle under the influence, domestic violence, drug possession, possession of drug paraphernalia, littering, and failure to appear. We responded to 156 incidents total, and those included 27 squad runs, 11 warrants served, 7 trouble runs, 6 check on the well-beings, 6 lockouts, 5 runs each of fires, disabled vehicles, domestics, animal complaints, parking complaints, places found open, and suspicious persons. We provided mutual aid to our neighboring law enforcement agencies in 12 instances. We issued 55 traffic citations. And as I discussed with Councilmember Walther Willard before the meeting, our traffic enforcement has been up the last couple of months with a good number of citations being issued. We also issued 63 warnings, and we investigated 6 traffic crashes. Merry Christmas to all, and to all who are watching us on Waycross. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Comments, questions of the chief? Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, my report is, I'll follow up with a comment on Waycross. Dana also did the Winton Woods Warriors team interviewed, and that's on their Waycross channel. Like all of the meetings, like tonight's meeting will be on the Waycross channel, so you can either go to our webpage to get it or to go to the Waycross channel. The video that Dana shot down at the Commons for Light Up, I put on my Facebook page and had a number of comments from my friends that, and I do have some friends around the country, that they thought it was really unique that Greenhills is still celebrating the Christmas holiday and having Santa there. And so there was quite a few people that commented on that. All right, and I have Mayor's Court numbers. Checks to be issued to the state of Ohio, $1,512. Hamilton County, $57. Village of Greenhills, $6,075. I also have another item. I got a letter from Duke that they've applied for an adjustment in the gas rates, and it will be a decrease in the gas rates. But don't run out and spend the money right away. It's averages 9 cents per month savings to a residential customer. But every little bit helps. And basically that's all I have to report. Comments? All right, reports of committees, intergovernmental affairs, laws and rules, Maria Walther.
We have not met, Mr. Mayor, due to lack of agenda. And on the last meeting last month, we decided to wait until the new year to start the meetings and give the dates and so forth.
Okay. Recreation, cable, television, Natasha Metz, and I'm sure you've got something.
I always do.
Yeah, right. Well, you did a great job with the light up.
Thank you, and that's actually
did, yeah.
what I'll start with, is just a big thank you to everybody that came out and helped. You know, the police and the fire were there, Santa came, we had the service department with Mike, did a tremendous job starting their setup at 5. Every council member was out there helping or donated items towards it, so that went really well. Brenda was there all night at her craft table with Melanie, gave out every single one of their ornaments, had them decorated. We had the carriage rides. I know the Historical Society had their rooms open. That was great to have the music coming from that end. The library was there making little buttons with the kids, so that was awesome to have them up there on the gazebo. Messiah Lutheran was doing the hot chocolate. Cincinnati Dance and Movement came and did a little presentation. I know Melanie's daughter was in that, and she seemed to
She
be
was the
having a good
cutest
time.
little elf.
Let's see, we had the ice carver, food truck, Marty's Waffles was, I mean, they had a line even after the event was done, so they did not stop all night. Boy Scouts did a great job with the bonfire, and then again, thanks to Buskins for the cookies as well. But then I also want to pile on with Waycross, because tomorrow night at 7, they are having Santa live on their channel. You can see it with Spectrum on channel 8 and Fioptics on 850. So remember to write in with your questions or comments for Santa, and he'll be there live. So that's all I've got.
Comments? All right. And I did mention to the ice carver that she should have had a tip jar there.
Oh, yeah.
And so maybe next year if we get her to come back, or a carver, the
Yeah.
entertainment is worth it. I
Oh,
think.
yeah, definitely. She had a
I think
crowd
that-
all night long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did a great job.
Although I think some of the boys were hanging out so that they could push the sculpture over after.
Oh,
Yeah.
Construction.
okay, Service of Streets, Jennifer Osmonoglu.
I just wanted to ask about the leaf collection that's been extended to the 17th.
This week.
This is
Correct.
supposed to be a rain out this week, so
You know.
is that just the way it goes?
No, probably not.
Yeah.
You know, we'll collect the leaves.
Yeah, no.
For as
'cause
long
I
as
was
we have to,
glad to
right.
see the extension, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and actually, some trees still have some leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, we went all the way to February.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, the leaves just didn't drop
Yeah.
there for a while, so, yeah.
Well, get them out there if you can, get picked up. Thank you so much.
All right, Community Development, Jeff Halder's not here. Anybody got anything to report for Jeff?
We haven't met since the last meeting, so nothing new.
Okay. Safety, Melanie Hermes.
We haven't met. We're planning to meet in the new year.
Okay. Finance and Audit, Jack Lee.
Mr. Mayor, the committee met on December 1st. And the sole purpose for the meeting was to review the 2022 permanent appropriations. We found them in order and in good shape for next year. And normal considerations, particularly the salary issues were looked at. There are some issues that will be brought up by the manager in January, particularly concerning some of the properties that we lease. So plenty of resolutions to be read. I'll save my voice.
Okay. All right, moving on, unfinished business, there is none. New business, first one is resolution number,
Wait, you missed
oh,
one.
wait, I forgot to read. Sorry. Jumping in, opportunity now, since we've changed our agenda, for residents and non-residents to make comments solely regarding the legislation that's on the current agenda. Non-residents must obtain prior permission. This is the time for citizens to comment on legislation listed on the agenda for this session of council. When recognized, please come forward to the podium, give your name and address, and then state your comments. Comments will be limited to 4 minutes. And we have a new timer that Jeff Halder has donated, and we'll see how it works. If not, I'll still run a timer on mine. So, go ahead.
So before you do the timer, I just want to know, because you have so many resolutions, is this going to be 4 minutes per resolution?
No, 4 minutes, period.
For all 6?
Right.
So does that mean there's going to be no response? You guys are just going to stare at me? Okay. All right, well, the first thing I wanted to ask about was on Resolution 2021-32-F. It has to do with the liability insurance. My question is really just one of curiosity. I was wondering if we have had any lawsuits in the year of 2021 that we've used our liability insurance. And this is leaving out if it was anybody within this group that comes and raises a little chaos. But I was just curious to find out if we had any suits in those 2 years. Okay? My next one is that I saw the resolution 2021-29-F, which is health insurance, and I was quite surprised to see that you use an agent that would only give you the bid of one insurance. I've been in practice and had businesses with many employees, and every time my agent would bring me 5 or 6 different plans to look at for my employees. And I just find it quite surprising that he only gives you one. Maybe you need to look at a different agent. My next one is on Resolution 2021-31, and I think this has to do with, I'm a little confused on it because of the fact that you have stuff about the police, and then you have on the next page, Section 2, things about the people that work here. So I was kind of a little confused on what this all means. There was no Exhibit A in this resolution that was given to us. And as far as the police, I'm really glad that you're looking at giving them raises. I almost think that these raises that we're actually giving to the management is exorbitantly high. I've had employees again, and our performance is what a raise is based on. And in 2021, we have done nothing in this village that has brought any excitement to the village people. And my question too was that you say the village's financial conditions are determined by the finance director and the municipal building. So I know that I went to the meeting and you talked about how we got a lot of money, that we really are in the plush. You got taxes and you have money because we didn't do anything in 2021. So one of the things that I think about when I see a 10% raise and a 12% raise is what did we really do to perform over and beyond, which is within our job description. And I don't see anything we've done in 20 and 21. It's been a very hard year. We have people living here that will have real trouble paying taxes in the next year and have put on backdoor that they're looking for food and looking for lights and looking for gifts for their children. And then we turn around up here and we talk about giving people 10 and 12% raises. And it comes from our money. It's us residents that are paying for these raises. And it kind of concerns me a bit, especially for someone who hasn't even been a year and making, what, another 10 or 15% over what he made within the first 6 months. I think that's it. You guys have a Merry Christmas.
And anybody else?
Hi, Diana Harrison Kohler, 53 Ilona Drive. I want to just reiterate some of what Patricia had mentioned. One of the things I question is on the insurance for the employees. Why we still pay 80% of the highest premium to the employees for insurance? I find that to be rather high. And if they're choosing a lower premium plan, why we're still paying 80% of the higher premium towards that? They should be getting 80% maybe of the plan that they have chosen. That's just my observation on that. I don't know of many places or any that pay that much of a percentage to the insurance for the employees. The other thing is on the Raises, I do get the agenda and ordinances and resolutions emailed to me. And once again, the exhibits have been left off, so it's hard to understand some of the information that's on here without the exhibit. So I would hope that in the future that the exhibits will be included. This is the second time that I've had to ask for that. So I can't comment on what the police have for raises. I do love our police department. I support our police department. I think they do a fantastic job. But as far as the management raises, 10 and 12% does seem exorbitant. I understand you're looking at retention, but these people have been working under the salary that they've received, and I can understand incremental percentage increases, but I find it hard to justify a 12% raise to anyone at this time. So I'm hoping maybe you can clarify some more of that in our conversation before you vote, just so I have a better understanding of where that came from. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Moving on now to the unfinished business, none. New business, first resolution is number 2021-25-SNS. Resolution authorizing, oh wait, did we want to make a comment on any lawsuits in 2021?
I don't think we had any in
Right.
2021.
I'm not aware of any.
Yeah. No lawsuits, great. And I could also, on the healthcare, we did only get one bid. They put out to all of everybody out there, but no one else would bid. So,
I find that very hard to believe.
well,
And traditionally-
You should talk to a
Okay.
different agent.
Well, traditionally, our agent for years has been the same one and has brought in numerous
multiple.
possible bids.
Yeah.
This year, I'm not sure what's going on in the healthcare industry. So, okay, all right, now back to the resolution. A resolution authorizing assessments on certain properties within the village of Greenhills. As Osmonovu.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution number 2021-25-SNS, resolution authorizing assessment on certain properties in the village of Greenhills. Whereas the village has given proper notice to the owners of certain real property in the village of Greenhills regarding the removal of vegetation, refuse, garbage, and/or debris from the properties listed below. And whereas the owners of said properties did not take action to remedy the violations, and therefore the village of Greenhills contracted to remove vegetation, refuse, garbage, and/or debris, and now seeks to collect said expenses by authorizing the placement of a lien upon the lands and collect it as other taxes. Now therefore be it resolved by the council of the village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, that the village council hereby certifies that the cost of such labor, together with the expenses relative thereto, be filed on the return and statement to the Hamilton County Commissioners as an assessment against the properties listed and placed as a lien against the properties by the Auditor of Hamilton County, Ohio, as follows. Parcel number 597-0030-0206-00, address 22 Falcon Lane, owner ZC Homes LLC, cost $462.99. Parcel number 597-0080-0024-00, 24 Brompton Lane, owners Terry R. and Teresa Spa, cost $153.99. Parcel number 597-0070-0225-00, address 12 Chalmers Court, owner Amanda Renee Spa, cost $153.99. Parcel number 597-0070-0226-00, address 13 Chalmers Court, owner Violet and David T. Uchachuco Kindo, cost $226.09. The total cost of the assessments, $997.04. Section 2, all amounts collected as a result of this resolution shall be placed into the general fund of the Village of Greenhills. Section 3, this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? All right. Clerk call the roll.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
Ms. Walter?
Aye.
Ms. Osmanaglu?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Okay. Resolution 2021-25-S&S passes. Next resolution, number 2021-26-F, resolution making supplemental appropriations and transfers. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2021-26F, resolution making supplemental appropriations and transfers. Whereas the 2021 annual appropriations that were adopted on December 8, 2020 are to be amended, and whereas the appropriations must not exceed the total available resources of the village per Ohio Revised Code Section 5705.36A5, therefore, an amended certificate of estimated resources has been requested from the County Budget Commission. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, since certain actions are needed in the monies appropriated so that to permit the Village of Greenhills to meet its fiscal obligations for the year 2021, the following items of expenditure are to supplement the appropriations for expenditure for the year 2021. Fund description: General Fund, Police donation, S&M 1,000. Appropriation is $1,700. The change is $1,000 for a total of $2,700. Section 2, that the following transfer of funds be made from previously appropriated monies. None. Section 3, that this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after the earliest date allowed by law. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Ms. Walter?
Aye.
Ms. Osmanaglu? Aye. Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Resolution number 2021-26 passes. Next resolution, 2021-27F, resolution approving the annual permanent appropriations for 2022. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2021-27F, resolution approving the annual permanent appropriations for 2022. A resolution to make the permanent appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Greenhills, State of Ohio, during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022, pursuant to Exhibit A, permanent appropriation for 2022 attached hereto and by reference made a part hereof. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the Council of the Village, Greenhills, Ohio, Greenhills, State of Ohio, Section 1, to provide the current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Greenhills during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022, the following sums be and they are hereby set aside and appropriated as follows, namely, that there be appropriated from the general fund $2,305,643, that there will be appropriated from the special revenue funds $2,102,764, that there be appropriated from the debt bond retirement fund $190,593, that there be appropriated from the special assessment fund $51,000, for a grand total of $4,650,000 for all funds. Section 2, that the village finance director is hereby authorized to draw warrants for payments from any of the foregoing appropriations upon receiving proper certificates and vouchers therefore, approved by the board or officers authorized by law to approve the same, or an ordinance or a resolution of council to make the expenditures, provided that no warrants shall be drawn or paid for salaries or wages except to persons employed by authority of and in accordance with law or ordinance. Section 3, any necessary changes to be made by the appropriations below the legal level control can be made by the finance director with special approval of the municipal manager. Any changes to the appropriation at or above the legal level of control require village council approval. Section 4, that this resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions?
Again, these are for appropriation for funds to be expended next year.
All right, clerk call the roll.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Walter?
Aye.
Mrs. Montague?
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2021-27F passes. Next resolution is 2021-28-F, resolution requesting the county auditor to make tax advances during the year 2022 pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code, Section 321.34. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2021-28F, resolution requesting the county auditor to make tax advances during the year 2022 pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code, Section 321-34, or .34, pardon me. Whereas the Ohio Revised Code allows a taxing authority to request advance payment from the county auditor funds derived from taxes or other sources to the county treasurer, which may be held on account of a location subdivision. Now therefore it be resolved by the Council of Village Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, the auditor and the treasurer of Hamilton County, in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 321.34, be required to draw and pay to the Village of Greenhills upon written request of the Finance Director, Deborah Heimer, to the County Auditor, funds due in any settlement of 2022 derived from taxes or other sources payable to the County Treasurer to the account of the Village of Greenhills and lawfully applicable for purposes of the current fiscal year. Section 2, the Clerk of Council of the Village of Greenhills be and hereby is directed to transmit a certified copy of this resolution to the Auditor of Hamilton County, Ohio. Section 3, that this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after the earliest date allowed by law. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Clerk call the roll.
Ms. Walter? Ms. Walter?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mrs. Montague?
Aye.
Resolution number 2021-28F passes. Next resolution, 2021-29-F, resolution authorizing the municipal manager to enter into an agreement with Anthem for providing health insurance coverage for employees of the Village of Greenhills. Mr. Lee.
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2021-29-F, authorizing the municipal manager to enter into an agreement with Anthem for providing health insurance coverage for the employees of the Village of Greenhills. Whereas the Village of Greenhills provides health insurance benefits for eligible employees, and whereas the village has utilized Horan Associates to request and review proposals for health insurance coverage from various carriers and determine that the proposal submitted by Anthem is the best proposal for the village in terms of quality, service, adaptability, and reflects a continuation of the current plans. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of Village Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to enter into an agreement with Anthem for the purpose of providing health insurance for eligible employees for the term January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022. Section 2, that the village will continue to offer a dual option plan and will pay the same employer contribution dollar amount for both plans. The dollar amount is based upon 80% of the highest priced premium plan. Section 3, that the finance director is hereby authorized to pay Anthem monthly premiums totaling an annual amount of approximately $167,000 and said amount fluctuating depending upon the number of persons enrolled in the plan. Section 4, that this resolution shall take effect and be immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions on this?
How many employees elect the plan currently?
About 20,
Oh, 20, that
I
many?
think.
Okay.
That might explain why a limited amount of insurance companies responded to the quote.
It is.
When it,
They're small.
it absolutely is.
All right, clerk call the roll.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
Ms. Walter?
Aye.
Mrs. Monagle? Aye. And Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Resolution 2021-29-F passes. The next one's resolution number 2021-30-LNR, authorizing agreement establishing compensation for legal services of Law Director and Wooden Lamping LLP. Ms. Walter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2021-30 LNR, authorizing an agreement establishing compensation for legal services of Law Director and Wood and Lamping LLP. Whereas Section 5.02 of the Charter of the Village of Greenhills provides that the Law Director shall be appointed by council, and whereas Section 5.02 further provides that council shall have the right to select additional legal counsel, and whereas council has determined that Jeffrey D. Forbes possesses the qualifications to serve as a law director for the Village of Greenhills, and whereas council further desires to contract with the law firm of Wooding and Lamping for additional legal services related to the functions of the law director. Now therefore, be it resolved by the council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, members elected thereto concurring, Section 1, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to enter into the agreement establishing compensation for legal services of Law Director Wood and Lamping LLP, with said agreement being substantially in form of that attached hereto as Exhibit A, incorporated here in reference. In Section 2, that this resolution is and shall be effective from and after the earliest period allowed by law. Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt this resolution 2021-30 LNR.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to pass this resolution. Any comments or questions?
Well, I just wanted to make the comment that the exhibit that we have attached to it, the agreement establishing the compensation, this agreement is entered into and by in between the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, and it's called the Village. It's with Jeffrey D. Forbes and the law firm of Wooding and Lamping. It's a retainer payment, as Ms. Kovac mentioned earlier, that there has been added $500 to the retainer for the year. And the additional legal services, and as also was explained by Ms. Kovac, that it increased $5 an hour of the billable hours there, and additional provisions that we have in here. So it's very straightforward contract.
Clerk call the roll.
Mrs. Monagle?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Walter?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2021-30-LNR passes.
Oh, good.
And
See you next
that gives Jack a moment to relax
Oh,
his voice.
I'm good.
And then we're ready for
I'm
the
good,
next
yeah.
one. Okay.
Welcome back, Mr. Forbes. Huh?
Thank you very much.
Resolution number 2021-31-F, resolution establishing new salaries for various village employees. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2021-31-F, resolution establishing new salaries for various village employees. Be it resolved by the Council of the Village, Greenhills, Ohio, State of Ohio, that Section 1, for the job classifications identified in Exhibit A to this resolution, incorporated herein and by reference made a part hereof, a compensation schedule is outlined. Advancement from step to step will occur every other year and shall become effective in the first full pay period of the appropriate fiscal year based upon this schedule. Movement to the next pay step will be based upon the recommendation of the department head to the municipal manager as follows. A, in the last 2 months of a fiscal year, each employee's performance will be reviewed by their supervisor, who will submit a written recommendation for movement to the next step to the appropriate department head. To be eligible for such movement, the employee must have had at least a satisfactory performance rating. B, the recommendation will be considered by the municipal manager, who shall either approve or deny such recommendation based upon their determination whether such movement is generally within the best interests of the village as an organization, including but not limited to such factors as the fiscal condition of the village. C, if the employee's movement is denied because of work performance or disciplinary issues, the employee will not receive a movement in pay steps until the next fiscal year, contingent upon an improvement in work performance being documented. Receiving said compensation shall be based on the village's financial condition as determined by the finance director and the municipal manager and supported by the 2022 approved budget. According to the schedule, police personnel will begin in a new schedule as follows. Step A, First Lieutenant Ann
Full-time.
Ward. Pardon?
Full-time.
I'm sorry. Full-time Lieutenant Ann Ward, full-time Sergeant Tony Patton, full-time Patrol Officer Zach Braun, full-time Patrol Officer Blake Mayberry, full-time Patrol Officer Brandon Young, part-time Patrol Officer David Bacon, part-time Patrol Officer Brian Johnson, part-time Patrol Detective Mike Mathis. Step B, full-time Patrol Officer Andy Moore, full-time Patrol Officer Rob Lenhart, full-time Patrol Officer Carl Holbrook. Section 2, management personnel shall receive additional compensation as of the first pay period of 2022 as follows. Finance Director, $8,000 or 10.7% for a total of $83,026. Municipal Manager, $8,000 or 8% for a new total of $106,535. Note, the manager's car allowance of $6,000 is being eliminated and will be added to the compensation for a net increase in salary of $2,000. Police Chief, $8,000 or 10.35% for a new total of $85,300. Service Foreman, $8,000 or 12.5% for a new total of $71,648. Section 3, all other positions not identified in this resolution will continue to be compensated as outlined in Resolution 2019-06-F passed on February 26, 2019. Section 4, compensation for the code enforcement officer shall increase to $18,000 annually. Section 5, this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions?
If I might add, the Exhibit A to this, the patrol officer step A increases to $30 an hour. Corporal part-time is $33. Sergeant is $36.75, and lieutenant is $38.46 per hour.
I am a little bit confused by the exhibit. So step B only happens in 2024?
Yes.
So the people who are in step B, they don't get an increase until 2024?
No.
Because their step B isn't listed, their 2022 rate is not listed. I understand that step A, people who are currently in step A won't move to step B until 2024, but the people who are currently in 2024, their wage is not listed.
The people that are currently listed in step B, correct me if I'm wrong, Deb or Yvonne, it should be 32.
Yeah, I think I see what she's saying, though, that we listed people for step B, but they'll get that in 2022. So we should probably just eliminate the years under those and have step A, step B, step C.
Yes. And then for the part-time patrol officers, it says patrol detective Mike Mathis and patrol officer. Who's the corporal?
They both should be
'Cause-
officer in charge or detective.
And then part-time patrol officer Bacon, his rate's the same amount as the regular patrol officers,
That
correct?
is correct.
Okay. We might want to make sure Scrivener's error that both Brian Johnston and Mike Mathis are listed as corporal, since that's what it's listed on the exhibit. It's just confusing.
Yeah, and they both should be listed as corporals.
Yeah. Okay, so we
But-
should eliminate the years at the top.
Eliminate the years, yes.
Does that have to be voted on?
You might
It's
as
just
well,
Scrivener.
you might as well decide all the changes you want to make, and then you can treat it as a motion to amend.
Does that include the one I was gonna?
You can,
That's, yes.
yeah, you can take care of any changes you want to make with a motion to amend.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just start it then. I motion to amend the resolution to include the changes that Ms. Hermes has mentioned, as well as update the finance director to the 10% that we discussed, not the 10.7. Is there a second?
Second. Well, I figured we should keep talking in case
As
there's
well
any,
as additional.
there's a little couple other things.
Okay, go ahead.
It also says that the service foreman is getting a 12.5% increase. That's kind of incorrect. He's being changed from hourly to salary. So part of the difference was creating, he was, as an hourly position, he was able to get overtime. And so his base rate did not include overtime, which is snow plowing and stuff for the like. When we were changing him to a salaried position, we were taking into consideration overtime and such like that. So it's kind of a little misleading to say that it's a 12.5% increase when it's a whole different pay structure for him. He's gonna, so it's not really a 12.5 increase, it's a,
Actually, we discussed two options.
Yes.
One of them would be an $8,000 increase, one was going to be a $12,000 if he went to salary.
so he's not,
We are keeping him at hourly.
then that's,
Oh, then, no.
then he should, that it should be listed as an hourly rate instead of an annual rate, because this says that if he works overtime, he doesn't get any more money.
Yeah.
He can't get overtime with this rate.
Where does it say annual?
Well, that, if he works anything over $71,648, he stops getting paid based on this resolution.
Okay, so we should just eliminate that.
He should be, it should be listed as an hourly rate then. I just assumed it was an hourly, salary because it was listed as a salary in the resolution. And the other clarification I guess I need is the code enforcement is paid an hourly rate as well, and we're not increasing his hourly rate, we're increasing his hours.
Correct.
So there was a lot of things, so this should
There's a lot
also
of
say,
changes.
Well,
it should change to what he makes per hour.
Okay, yeah, and actually, we pay him a lump sum, right, per month
We
or
do,
per
it's
pay
not
period?
hourly.
But it's based on hours worked, or what's it based on?
It's based on a dollar amount. He is making 14, I think, what is it?
14,400.
14,000
Right,
now.
But he will be working one
So it's
one
increasing,
additional day plus hours here and there.
so this resolution is increasing his hours worked, not his amount per hours. That's
Correct.
also not clear
Well,
in this
it's
resolution.
increasing the overall amount that we pay him in exchange for additional hours.
Yes, he will be working more.
Okay, I mean, so does he get, he's salaried?
He gets a
No
set
spot rate,
amount
yeah,
every
so.
2 weeks.
Okay,
Which is salary.
so,
So he's salary. Yes, you're
Yes,
correct,
he is.
Melanie.
so he's salaried, we're just increasing the hours he's gonna work.
So pretty much a lot of the notes and stuff that we talked about and the clarifications previously were not put into this, is what I'm seeing.
That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Meaning what? There was a clarification, discussion of the code enforcement hours?
That and the service foreman and the finance director percent was written incorrectly.
Okay, are we amending it now?
I would say, please, I would want the service foreman to be labeled as his correct wage. Make sure that the patrol officer, part-time patrol officers are listed as corporals so it matches the exhibit. I would have even put the compensation for the code enforcement official shall increase to 18,000 annually based on an increase in hours, because it just,
Yeah,
Yeah.
just some clarifications.
yeah.
It's like there's too many notes and not enough notes all at the same time.
Okay.
Okay, we got it. Thank you.
Okay,
So Does- is that all clear? Can all that be as an amendment, or is that?
Yeah.
I would say, do you need me to reiterate all of them, or do we?
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Please do.
Yes. Okay, so I'll say mine, and then Melanie, you want to click on yours. So I move that we amend the Section 2 Finance Director to be listed as 10%, not 10.7. In addition, Melanie's updates of,
Brian Johnston and Mike Mathis be listed as
Corporal.
corporals. Clarify the service foreman's hourly rate. I couldn't even tell you what that is based on that number. And add to Section 4, due to an increase in hours per month. I second the motion for that amendment. Like,
Yeah, they will.
oh, that also was the elimination of the years in the in the exhibit. So it just
Correct.
listed step A, step B, step C.
Yeah.
okay. Did we have a second? I missed.
I was the
yeah,
second
my motion,
Okay,
second.
all right. Clerk, call the roll
of the amendments.
of the amendment.
Yes.
Vote on the motion.
Okay. Ms. Hermes,
Aye.
Ms. Metz,
Aye.
Ms. Walter,
Aye.
Ms. Osmanagui. Aye. And Mr. Lee.
Nay.
All right, motion carries. All right, now we have a motion to adopt the resolution as amended.
Correct.
That was Jack and Jen's motion and second.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we need to do the
Any
roll
other
again.
discussion? Hearing none, the clerk call the roll.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
Ms. Walter?
Aye.
Ms. Osmanagу? Aye. Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2021-31-F passes. Next resolution, 2021-32-F, resolution authorizing the 2022 property and liability insurance coverage to the public entities pool of Ohio. Mr. Lee.
Resolution 2021-32-F, resolution awarding the 2022 property and liability insurance coverage to the public entities pool of Ohio. Whereas the Village of Greenhills must have continuous insurance coverage and has been presented with an acceptable insurance proposal from the Public Entities Pool of Ohio, also known as PEP. Now therefore be resolved by the Council of Village of Greenhills, State of Ohio, that Section 1, the insurance policy proposal from PEP brokered by USI Insurance Services LLC for the issuance of automobile, general liability, police professional liability, public officials liability, property insurance, and other insurance as determined by the municipal manager in the name of the Village of Greenhills is hereby accepted at a cost to the village in the amount of $57,277. A copy of the proposed policy is on file with the municipal manager. Section 2, the municipal manager is hereby authorized and directed to execute any or all documents necessary to implement said coverage. Section 3, the finance director is hereby authorized and directed to make payment to PEP in the amount of $57,277 for 2022 coverage. Section 4, this resolution shall be in full force and effect and after its passage and approval. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Approved and seconded. Any comments or questions on this resolution?
I think the key statement there is that the Village of Greenhills must have continuous insurance coverage, and it's not a matter of whether we've been sued at any particular time, because we can be sued at any time, so there you go.
Okay. Clerk call the roll.
Ms. Walter?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Ms. Osmanagu?
Resolution number 2021-32-F passes. Go around. Do council members have any comments?
I just want to remind everybody that this meeting took place at the end of the month meeting, so this is it.
Yeah.
And then in January, the first time that we get together, we have also a regular meeting, because we have to adopt the rules of council, and there are certain things that we have to do.
And swear in new
And
council.
swearing in the ones that were elected in November and so forth. So, and it has to be done at the earliest that we possibly can do that. And that would be on the second Tuesday of January.
Anything?
Everyone have a safe and happy holiday. Thank you.
Yes, just that I was a little bit disappointed because it felt like we did have a lengthy discussion on the salaries, and what we talked about, not all of it was incorporated or remembered somehow. Because, I mean, one of the things I remember talking about is don't put both percentage and a dollar amount. I mean, one of the things I think we said was just list what they're going to be making in 2022.
Yep.
And there was both listed I mean, it just was a lot of information and
Yeah,
not consistent.
It was. My
And I-
apologies for that. I guess I didn't jot down all that detail.
And I know you
So
weren't,
when it came to writing it, I put
and-
it all in there.
and I do remember that you weren't in the discussion for all of it because some of it was us talking as council, so it could be, but it just felt like not everything that we talked about ended up being incorporated, and that was a little bit
Yep. Agreed.
frustrating, and I apologize because I didn't see it right away since I did just fly back from vacation today, so I did not review my packet thoroughly in advance, so I apologize for my error in seeing things sooner.
Okay. And I don't have anything other than wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays in general. And so on calendar, we will be meeting on the 11th, is that right? January the 11th? And do we have any committee meetings planned for that time period?
Well, you don't sign us to committees until that day.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay. And is that it from us up here? Okay. We've got a chance, we still have a couple people remaining in the audience. Does anybody want to make a comment? Okay. And the same thing stands for whatever I read earlier.
My name is Helen Booker, and I live at 5 Hayden Drive. And I just have a question. I don't know if it's legal, if it's feasible, or doable. But I was thinking about this past election, and there weren't a lot of names on the ballots, and some were repeat names. Now, I don't have a problem with that, but my question and concern is future of Greenhills. I never see any young people here, and when I say young people, I'm speaking in terms of maybe high school junior seniors or high school students, period, or any children, actually, to see what's going on with council, what happens, how it happens, etc. So I was wondering if it would be feasible, legal, or doable to have a, like maybe an internship or mentorship, shadowing, something for maybe high school students actually really to see what a council does, maybe to spark their interest in getting involved in community activities and work. I don't really know what the demographics of Greenhills is as far as young people. But, you know, we're getting older. I don't know how much energy you all have left. And seriously, I mean, how much longer you want to do what you're doing. I'm sure you enjoy what you're doing. But again, seriously, I think about these things. I mean, you know, because having worked, I no longer work, I'm retired. You know, you always think about succession planning and, you know, just trying to get people involved and interested in what goes on. I don't know how many young people stay in this community after they go away to college and that sort of thing. But it's a concern for me and probably for you all too, to some degree. But I was just curious if that some thought could be given to that. And other than that,
I
you
have
know,
an
I'm fine
answer.
with that.
I have a comment to interfere with that, your comment. Please don't count the seconds or minutes here. There used
I'm
to
done.
There used to be a program that were certain teachers, government teachers, that made an assignment, and every so often we had a young man or young woman, whoever was assigned, they were assigned to different councils, and, you know, Springfield Township and Forest Park and us in here, and we would sign the paper that they had been here for the whole time, and we you know, give them recognition that they have been here. Also, we often had young men from the Boy Scouts to do the Pledge of Allegiance in order to get certain patches or things like that, and we have not seen either one for a long time.
I feel like we did have a couple of the government students earlier this year.
couple
Was it
of
earlier
what?
this year? Yeah, we had like 3 young ladies in here earlier this year, but it is rare. So.
It is rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Helen, I'm a gray-hair old man, I guess is what you're referring to. But I do want to point out that there
I'm
are
32.
there are
Am I too old?
there are 3 ladies up here on council that are 40 or younger. Some,
No? We're older than that.
I'm 32.
so, well,
She's 32.
they're a lot younger. They're a lot younger
They're
than
not
I
gonna
am.
say.
Boy, they are going down a rabbit hole.
So,
We just look so young.
Now, y'all already know I didn't mean it that way.
Oh, we know, Helen. We
When you've
know.
been doing this job a long time, you kind of get a little weary and, but you keep doing what you're doing. I was just curious, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
and when he's saying about young people, one of the reasons that I appointed young people was to get young blood involved in the community.
Absolutely.
I used to be young.
Me too.
One thing I think and I don't know, when Greenhills had its own high school, we were probably closer to the government teachers at that time, because I would go to their classes when I was the manager and talk about the comparison of how cities and villages and townships were and those sort of things. And sometimes they'd bring their whole classes to a council meeting over the years. I think once the schools merged, they tended not to come back down here with the government classes. Now, they may have been going to the Forest Park council meetings, since that's right by the high school. So I don't know, but yeah, I think we would be interested in trying to share more with the younger people.
I was there when they merged, and I did not have to go to any kind of council meeting or any kind of form of government. We had our own mock government, but we never really talked. I don't remember talking much about local government in the government class back when they merged.
Yeah, I think I talked to maybe like 3 different classes over the years. I know
Hopefully
the
that's
police-
changed.
The police department have interacted a lot more with the schools and the younger people.
And I know a couple years ago, we talked about doing a youth citizens police academy. However, right when we started talking about that and started it up, COVID hit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was at the beginning of its infancy.
And we're really excited to get that restarted.
Yes, and
Good.
so I know that was something, their outreach, it's not all of government, but what they do bring in is some interaction, and they do a great job of representing and talking about the government.
Well, even when the football team was in here, none of those young men lived in Greenhills.
Yeah.
And to me, there's I feel, a disconnect between Greenhills and Forest Park. It's almost like I feel as if they think the school, the high school, belongs to Forest Park. I don't feel like it belongs, or I'm not feeling the connection to the high school, to Winton Woods, to Greenhills. So, that's just my concern. I just thought it was something to bring up, something to think about.
Yeah.
And maybe,
That's a great
Yeah.
idea, because there's a lot of kids that have no idea how local government works. And that's the most important form of, that's where the government
That's where it
starts.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What was the other thing I was gonna say about that? I don't know, I done got old, I can't.
I was going to say, it's also great now that the South Campus is 1 through 6, so we have students, at least in Greenhills, for 6 continuous years, whereas before, with the different schools, they did 2 years here or at Springfield Township, and then the rest of the time they were at Forest Park until they came back for middle school. So now it's like there's more opportunity to interact.
I don't know if they teach civics classes in school anymore, do they? Does anybody know?
I'm not adjourn? They should.
Thanks, Helen.
Thank you.
All right, that's it. Meeting adjourned.
Tangled up on this one.